Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to be doing an update to the story I covered yesterday, which is titled, I'm Getting Married in 2 Weeks and I'm Totally Screwed. And guys, as a recap, because I know a lot of you guys watched that yesterday and really enjoyed the story, wanted to hear more, this is about the guy who's in 2 weeks all set to be married. Thought he had a great gal until he overheard her having a conversation with her sister. Turns out that his fiancée and soon-to-be wife has been covering up her sister's affair, which has been going on for quite some time. And it's one thing to know about it. I mean, it's bad enough to know about it, but also she's actually helping her hide her affair. And you realize, I cannot possibly marry someone like this. Aside from the fact that that's terrible, the odds are she's going to do the same thing to me when her needs aren't being met, and the sister will cover for her. And now he's debating on how to handle this whole situation. And what was cool is he reached out to his older brother who lives in Australia. His brother's behind him 100%. But the big issue is that all his money was spent on the wedding in 2 weeks. And that whole thing there. And then obviously confronting and kicking her to the curb. Now we have an update here about this whole situation. It's definitely worth listening to. He says here, and by the way, there's a bunch of little edits and updates he did until there's an official update. He says here, I just did my morning stand-up. My stomach is doing flip-flops and drinking about 2 pots of coffee since I got here so early, and I absolutely cannot focus and concentrate. I feel like I can't do anything really from my side until I tell Marty what I know. Marty is the brother-in-law that's being cheated on. I'm going to take a sick day and drive over to his house and see if he's around. If not, I'll call him and track him down. Marty is a teacher who is on break right now, and Evelyn works 9 to 5 like me. So odds are this will work out. Wish me luck, Reddit. Next up, he says here, I got to Marty's house a little after 10 a.m. He just put his daughter down for a nap, and we had a long, frankly brutal talk in the kitchen. Basically, he suspected this for a couple months now, but Evelyn has been very good at covering her tracks. Yeah, no thanks to this dude's fiancé. Obviously with the assistance of Sarah and a couple of their mutual friends. Pay attention who your girl hangs out with. I unfortunately do not have all 6 months of text messages, just a couple dozen screenshots I sent to myself from Sarah's phone. But I gave him what I have and offered to help him however I could. I'm a field analyst in the SIU department of a mid-sized insurer specializing in workers' compensation fraud. So I know a few things and a few people. Well, that come in handy. Anyway, I'm now working from my laptop in my almost brother-in-law kitchen trying to salvage whatever I can. I'm going to have a talk to Sarah this evening and get the word out fast as I can to my friends and family now that I know I won't screw Marty over. So far, I managed to rebook most of the honeymoon, although I had a problem with the ticket because Sarah was flying under her maiden name and our Carrie has the surname rule and name changes. Anyway, they did allow me to cancel and get a partial refund and rebook to my sister, who will be accompanying her 2 brothers and nieces to Florida in a couple of weeks. Okay, at least he's getting some money back, or at least trading the tickets for something else, some value here. I'm holding off on canceling the venues until I had talked with Sarah because I don't want to tip anyone off until Marty gets his chance to confront Evelyn. But I will absolutely be letting my family and friends know this afternoon sometime and beg them to keep it close. I think they will. I'm basically in a frenzy right now, canceling stuff, and I can cancel, and I'm heading down to the bank in a few to open a new bank account and getting my bills and pay sorted out. The finances, some people have mentioned them, but it should be pretty good. The mortgage is in my name since we were not married, and I have the bigger income. But Sarah did contribute around 20 grand versus my 60 grand towards the down payment. I will have to probably pay her out that money and some portion of the mortgage payments for the last 16 months, but it could be worse. You'll work something out, even though she's going to be freaking out here. It says, P.S. How come so many are confused brother and brother-in-law? Next little update. He says here, I'm going to go silent for a while. This post has already been circulating around TikTok and has gone way, way, way beyond what I thought would ever happen, and I was freaking out in the middle of the night. Well, the story's on YouTube now. When you post things on Reddit, especially now because there's so many channels that cover Reddit stories, like that, it goes up. First off, I want to say something here. I do not hate Sarah. I don't approve what she did. I frankly find it repulsive, and I'm shocked by uncovering how two-faced she can be and how she treats people. But I don't hate her. Well, wait till you break up with her. Then you may see her real colors, and you may be coming back to this whole I don't hate her thing. But bro, she's showing who she is. She's covering up the cheating on her sister's husband, and who's also father of a little kid, and doesn't care. I wouldn't say you hate her, but you certainly very much dislike her and who she is. It's despicable. I am just incredibly sad about everything, and I'm screwed. Part of my post is really in a short time frame I have to work under. Basically, our relationship is in a state where I cannot get married to her, but we're supposed to get married in 2 weeks. Married if we had 2 months, or maybe if I had 2 months or better yet, or a year or so, I could work through this. My approach might be vastly different, but I don't have that luxury. I have to move now. There's just no way I can enter into marriage with the state of our relationship is right now. Not now, not ever. She's shown her hand who she is. Not to you directly, but you found out and caught her. There's just no way I can enter a marriage with her, blah, blah, blah. End of discussion, guys. Anyway, I'll report back later tonight with how everything went. Hopefully, it'll be less dramatic than I'm anticipating. Number 7, or part 7 here. He says, I have no idea how long a Reddit post can be, as I never written such a long one before in my life. So I hope that goes through. It's about 8:30 p.m. right now, and I'm writing this from my buddy's house. His name is Mark, and a former coworker of mine that is also in the same field of work. As I mentioned in a previous update, I work as a field analyst in the SIU department of a decent-sized insurance carrier. For people who don't know what that is, I'm basically a private detective. My job is to investigate what we think might be fraudulent claims in regards to workers' compensation. Well, the fact that he is essentially a PI will be helpful to him. Anyway, as I kind of hinted at, Marty asked for my help in finding out who the other guy was that Evelyn was cheating on him with. All we had to do was get a name, let's call him Jake, and the first thing I did was not some major amount of sleuthing. It was basically just going through LinkedIn trying to find the guy through Evelyn's connections, but that brought up nothing, which I thought was strange. Marty had told me that Evelyn was supposed to go out for drinks tonight after work, and that she wouldn't be home until around 9 or 10 p.m. He didn't have to tell me what he suspected, since I pretty much understood right away. I told him that I would help him, but he needed to come with me. I then contacted my buddy Mark and explained the situation to him, and had him agree to meet us later in the day. I'm loving it. They're all working together. They're going to get this HOE bag. The first thing we did was drive over to Marty's parents' house so they could watch their granddaughter. I don't know what Marty told them as I waited in the car. After that, we went to Evelyn's place of work. It's one of those large commercial strip mall type of centers with all these nondescript offices in a row and a large non-gated car park. We drove around until we found Evelyn's car, and then I had Marty unlock it with the second set of keys. I then gave Marty a voice-activated recorder and a GPS tracker to place in the car. Sweet. Once done with that, we left, parked a bit down the street, and waited for my friend to arrive and for Evelyn to leave the business. Mark shows up about 20 minutes later, hops in the car with us, and around an hour after that, Evelyn comes out of her office with 2 of her girlfriends and a tall, younger-looking man with sandy blonde hair. That's got to be so hard for this Marty guy. They were obviously holding hands, and I'm like, damn, Evelyn, you're making it easy for me. I take a couple pictures from the car and then wait for Evelyn to leave in hers, and I start tracking her. At first, I thought she might go right to a hotel or something, but she didn't. Instead, she drove to a reasonably nice bar and grill in a nice section of town and parked on the street. I drove by her as she was getting out of the car and entering the establishment, and then found my own parking spot and went over the plan. First, we sent Mark in, since no one knew him. He had basically 2 jobs. First, try to get any compromising pictures he could of Evelyn and Jake. And the second is to be my alibi. Marty and I waited in the car for about 20 minutes until I got to the first in the series of text messages from Mark. There were pictures of Evelyn and Jake making out in front of their 2 female co-workers. And I'm guessing they're not too far from this dude's house, but they just don't care. Marty's suspicions were right. They were helping Evelyn hide the affair from him. He was obviously very upset and angry. Evidently, one of the co-workers is married. And as a couple they are good friends with, Marty and Evelyn, both of them have toddlers around the same age. And I guarantee those girls are cheating on their husbands too. I asked Marty if that's enough for him, but he says he still really wants to know who this guy is. I try to tell him that we can find out later, but he's practically begging me at this point. So I tell him to wait, text Mark that I'm coming in, and then enter the bar myself. First thing I see is Evelyn and her crew laughing and drinking at one of those round-top tables near the front window as I enter. I stop for a moment, pretend to be surprised, and then call out to Evelyn. Evelyn, hi. What are you doing here? She's obviously shocked to see me, and everyone around her tenses up immediately. Evelyn quickly introduces me as her sister's fiancée and says that we are getting married in 2 weeks. There are a lot of congratulations from everyone. I thank them and then stick out my hand to the blonde guy and introduce myself with my full name, hoping that he'll respond in kind. He does, and I'm a bit taken back. He's not named Jake. I introduce myself to everyone else and then tell Evelyn that I'm here to meet a coworker, and I wave to Mark and then excuse myself. Now imagine if he walked in and they were making out right as he walked up to the table. Once I get over to Mark, I tell him the guy's name and we both whip out our phones and go to work. I'm loving the teamwork here. It doesn't take long for us to find him. He's got social media profiles and a couple of court case judgments against him. Shocker. The bad boy that can give him the butterflies. Everything sort of falls into place when we find out that Jake is his middle name. At this point, I'm basically just grateful that Evelyn isn't cheating on Marty with 2 different coworkers. You never know. Come on. Turns out that Jake is 26 years old, married, and has a 1-year-old daughter. This just keeps getting better and better. Or, in this case, worse. Anyway, I tell Marty the guy's name and I decide I want to push my luck and tell him to wait here for a few more minutes. Basically, I'm playing babysitter here at the bar. I'm totally visible to Evelyn and her crew, and I can see out of the corner of my eye that no one is particularly happy about this, and my presence is really ruining the night. This is good. I'll let this go on for about 10 more minutes and then tell Marty to text Evelyn that he's spending the night at his parents' house with their daughter. It doesn't take long after that until I catch Evelyn taking out her phone, showing it to Jake, and then everyone deciding to pack up. I wonder where they're going. Evelyn comes over to me, says goodnight, and asks me if Sarah and I want to come over for dinner this weekend. I smile and say that sounds like a great idea and wish her and her coworkers a good night. Mark and I wait for them to leave, then pay our bill and hurry back to waiting for Marty. Man, poor Marty. There's a bit of hesitation here because we don't know exactly what Evelyn was going to do. Like I half assumed, she might have already booked a hotel room and was heading there, which would have made everything a lot more complicated and limited what I could do. But it turns out that night was probably meant to be just drinks at the bar, and it wasn't until Marty decided to spend the night with his parents that it turned to something more. Evelyn made a beeline for home, and we followed her behind her, out of sight, and parked down the street. It didn't take long after that until another car pulled into Marty's driveway, and we saw Jake get out, go up to the door, knock, and be greeted by Evelyn, and they went inside together. What an effing bitch. It's bad enough that she's doing all that. But now in their own home, I mean, you can't be surprised, but still. Now at this point, it's about 7:30, and I have my own stuff to do. And I think as a friend, I've done pretty much all I can do for Marty, and he can handle the rest himself. I mean, I feel bad for the guy, definitely, but I don't want to get any more involved in this drama than I already am, and being the wingman for him, while he confronts his cheating wife, is a bit much more for me considering my situation. Dude, you've done a hell of a lot, and it's great. Marty says it's fine, that he'll do the rest of it himself. I guess he's more of a man than you thought, Evelyn. He goes to Evelyn's car, retrieves my gear, and we bid each other goodbye. That was almost 2 hours ago. I did get one text message from Marty saying it was done and he was going to his parents' house for real this time, but my phone hasn't been blowing up. So I don't know what's been going on with Evelyn, and I've been at Mark's since then. I think that basically concludes my part of Marty's story. If he was smart and listened to my advice, he was recording with his phone when he entered the house. You're darn right, guys. You always have to record nowadays. I'll find out later. Anyway, my biggest priority now is to head home and tell Sarah that the wedding is off. She's almost 100% going to take it badly. There's no way that she won't. But like I said, I just can't get married to her right now. Or ever. I don't know what the future holds for us, or if we will be done with each other or not. But definitely we're not getting married anytime soon. Smack! Gotta smack some sense into him. No, there's not anytime soon or ever. You can't be with someone like this. I know this is hard, and you've been with her for a number of years, and you thought she was a different person. You can't be with someone like this, man. Come on. Also, for people who keep saying, why didn't you talk to her first? Why didn't you confront her? I have to say, are you people stupid? She stone cold lied in front of me to her brother-in-law that she's known for about 10 years and purposely thinks that and thinks a really great husband and father. Maybe you are naive enough to think that someone can lie that coldly to someone they're supposed to care about and then tell you the truth, but I'm not wired that way. Yeah, she'll lie to this guy just as much as she's lying to the other guy. Until that moment, I never had any cause to ever second-guess Sarah or not trust her. But she was literally untrustworthy in front of my face, and I'm supposed to let it slide, expect her to be honest to me. I guess you don't know what it's like to have your entire view of someone shift in an instant. It's disorienting and frankly a bit panic-inducing. It is amazing to me the amount of effing morons that are on Reddit that have like no life experience, but everyone are armchair lawyers, armchair this. They have no idea. They have like no relationship experience or anything else. And you know what I mean? Now, some people have accused me of such things, but let me tell you, I have plenty of relationship experience. I can do many videos on that thing, not to mention life experience with people in a lot of bad fucking situations. So a lot of people watch me on all three channels. They obviously recognize that I actually understand human nature pretty well. But anyway, he says here, I'm actually impressed I kept my head and followed my instincts instead of pressing her right away because it led to the truth. It would have been ridiculously easy for her to lie to me and then delete those text messages, and if she had done that, I would never have been able to read the horrible things she said. Never seen how she can be so, how evil she can be, and two-faced, and never realized how little I actually know about her. I'm going to go home to talk to Sarah. I'll update later on to let everybody know the final verdict is don't expect it to be a good one. So guys, that is the end of the update here, part 2, and I will definitely cover how this thing concludes with her and him telling her and it's over and all that, and the inevitable drama as soon as he publishes it. So for you guys who are following this, who've looked this story up online, if he does updates, and I'm going to keep an eye out, let me know. And that way then I can potentially do the next update tomorrow, depending on all the stuff he writes in there. But this guy, you know, this I feel bad for. This really sucks. But you know what? I like the fact that he's realizing, even though he's saying, well, maybe it won't work out now, but maybe later, that type of thing, he knows it's over. And I like that he's decisive about this and handling this, and he's helping that Marty guy. But this is why I do this story, guys, to help guys out, to share that these things happen. You have to keep your eyes open, and you can't tolerate this shit, you know? So, as soon as I hear about part 3 on the updates, I will definitely do the next video. Alright guys, as ever today, be sure to comment down below what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.